Rosanne. So it's been 2 years since the last time we spoke. A lot of things have changed. The regime has been weakened on the outside. It's lost the protection of the proxy militia of Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi, has lost an important ally like Assad in Syria, and now Maduro in Venezuela. So that is an international isolation combined with major protest, which seems quite different in nature from the 2022 Masa Amini protest. How do you see the picture at the moment?
The main problem of this regime is not isolation in the world or losing the leverages that this regime had in the region or in Venezuela. The main problem of this regime is losing its legitimacy amongst the people and popularity. When I say losing legitimacy, I mean that absolute majority of the people of Iran, more than 92%, according to some polls, believe that the rulers of Iran has no right to rule the country, has no legitimacy. They are not representing the people of Iran. The ideology of the regime that was a leftist Islamism, or better to say, a leftist ideological version of Islam, maximal theory of Islam, has been defeated, and people don't believe in that. Especially that recent years, when I say recent years, I can say at least from the first term of Ahmadinejad, the trend of corruption in the regime has increased, and now everybody in Iran believes that this regime is just a coalition of mafia type groups, corrupted, better to say oligarchs. Some oligarchs are making the structure of this regime. And for this reason, corruption, like a cancer, has gone every part of the country. Every part of the regime, from the house of the leader to every part of the bureaucracy of this regime and the armed force, especially Revolutionary Guard or police or everywhere. And the second problem, that after losing legitimacy of the regime, is lack of popularity because of disability of this regime to solve the problems of the people. They can't solve any problem of the people. I mean, look at the economy of the country. More than 60% is the inflation rate that everybody forecasts that it will be increased by the end of this year. And some economists warn that we may have an overinflation, recession at the same time, the decline of the GDP of the country, and air pollution, water crisis, energy crisis, and environmental problems, besides two human rights problems: suppression of this regime, systematically killing, arresting, putting pressure on the people, all together. Now people believe that as long as this regime with the leadership of Ayatollah Khamenei at the top, Velayat Faqih, jurisprudential, is in power, nothing will be changed, nothing will be solved. So the regime has the problem of legitimacy and popularity amongst the people, absolute majority of the people, and the leverages that they had in out of Iran in foreign policy has been lost. 12 days war with Israel showed that they are vulnerable. They claimed that they can destroy Israel just in 2 hours, but they were defeated in 12 days war, not only in military scene, but in intelligence scene, worse than military. Anyway, altogether, now we have a system that stands only on suppression machine of this regime, nothing more, nothing else. A suppression machine that consists of Revolutionary Guard, Basij, the militia, police, and intelligence organizations, Ministry of Intelligence and Intelligence of Revolutionary Guard, and 14 more intelligence organizations at the hands of the leader at the top. And this kleptocracy of Iran tried to keep him in power because he suppressed the people and divide the wealth of the country amongst them. So they need him as long as he's at the power. This is the scene. So for every trigger, every trigger can ignite protest in Iran. 3 years ago, death of Mahsa Amini. She was killed by the moral police, and you saw that more than 250 cities of Iran. Oh, sorry, I had a bad
Bless you.
cold. Thank you. And for 110 days, unrest and protests spread in more than 250 cities. For instance, in Tehran, more than 90 different neighborhoods at the same time they came to streets and fight with the regime. And now, 13 days ago, the fluctuation of the rate of the hard currency in Iran and decline of currency of Iran, Riyadh, pushed the Bazaris people and shopkeepers that can't survive in such a situation, economic situation, to close their shops, come to streets and protest to the situation. And very soon, different parts of the society come to scene and supported shopkeepers. By the way, from yesterday, because that people believed President Trump, that promised the people of Iran that if they want to kill you this time, the US will intervene and don't let them. People feel that, okay, they are safe if they come to streets. And yesterday, in more than, as far as I have gathered the information, according to some organizations, more than 180 different cities of Iran, people came to street, protested, and chanted that they death to dictator, death to Khamenei. They don't like this regime. A part of protesters' slogan was a request for a return of monarchy in Iran before Islamic Revolution, Pahlavi dynasty come back to Iran. And now, today, I know from the procedures of the regime that last night they have decided to shut down internet. They have shut down all the international telephone lines of Iran, and now there is a black curtain over the country. You have no option, no.
Isn't this usually a measure that is used when the regime wants to kick back, do the heavy repression, and not be seen, have images online on what's happening behind the curtains?
Exactly. Let me explain you something. Maybe it can be useful for your readers or yourself. Regime has, trained procedures for confrontation to the people protests. They have defined 4 stages. Stage 1, they call it problem. For instance, a factory strike or a part of neighborhood, the shopkeepers close their shops and protest. In first stage, police is in charge and tries to calm it down. Second stage, they call it damage. In second stage, when it spreads more than one place or one city and comes to a street besides to strike or something and shouting against the regime, uh, again police is in charge at the command of confrontation with the people, but uh, Minister of Intelligence of Revolutionary Guard help them to recognize the leaders of the protests and besiege the militia, if needed, will go under command of police, and the special forces of police, anti-riots forces will come to streets to confront the people. This is the second stage. And some other procedures. There are lots of details for every procedure. Third stage, that they call it threat. According to regime procedure, when it spreads more than 100 cities, the people starts to grow, the protesters, and when they think that it's going to be increased, and people may attack to the governmental centers, and they have some definitions for third stage. In that stage, Revolutionary Guard, IRGC, will be in command, and police, intelligence.
There were rumors yesterday about an involvement of the IRGC.
Yeah, but from last night, they decided that now in command is IRGC, but you don't see them in the streets. Militia of IRGC, Basij, will come to streets, or they have better to say some organizations of thugs, and I don't like to call them professionals, but they pay to some criminals, ex-criminals, that bring them to streets, plain clothes people, to suppress the people, beat the people. In this stage, one of the procedures that they have is shutting down the internet, disconnect the country, black curtain over the country, and sometimes if it's they are permitted to shoot the people with hunting guns, and they have started that today. the last stage that has not come yet, they call it crisis. This is the stage that they think that if they don't push the people go back to their houses, then the regime may go. They may collapse. So, in that stage, the troops of Revolutionary Guard come to the streets, and they are permitted to shoot to kill the people with war weapons, with bullets, real bullets to kill the people.
And that's to allow the top
Yeah,
to move away.
November 2019, if you remember, November 2019, the ignition, because all these protests needs an ignition. Ignition of 2019 protest was gas price increase. Suddenly, it started from Mashhad, from 2 cities, but in just 48 hours, it was spread to more than 200 cities. And they evaluated the protests as the fourth stage. So the order was, again, they shut down internet, everything, and ordered the troops to shoot to kill. And according to Reuters, 1,500 people were killed just in 3 days in the streets. According to our investigation, because they don't give the corpse to their families, they keep the bodies and don't let them to mourn them or bury them, and threaten the families that don't talk to anybody, otherwise you will be arrested, or the other child of that family will be arrested. In But later, gradually, with finding out who was killed, talking after 1 year, and comparison to the similar date the year before that, we believe that about 4,000 people were killed just in 3 days. So, I mean, and many of the people who were killed were shot from behind, not from front to confront them. They were fleeing from the scene, but they were shot with war weapons. So I'm really worried what will happen today if people continue to come to us, because people have believed President Trump.
I understand there is a meeting now arranged with Reza Pahlavi on the 13th. There was.
I heard about that, but yesterday President Trump denied that.
All right.
Yeah, some of the lobbies of Reza Pahlavi tried to get an appointment with Trump this coming Tuesday at Mar-a-Lago. But yesterday, Trump, in a radio interview, said that no, it's not appropriate for the president of the United States to meet now, and we should wait and see what is going on.
There were also Lindsey Graham declaration yesterday. He, in an interview, again, he threatened the regime that if he suppressed the protest with violence, there would be an intervention. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors, boys. How much do you think this is just sort of rhetoric, or how much there is a real intention?
Lindsey Graham is just a senator and is not in executive power, and although he's one of the supporters of President Trump, but has no authority. You can't rely on whatever he says. As far as I know, the ideal model for Trump administration is something like Venezuela. I mean, arresting the leader or killing him by Israelis might be able to do that, or
And then cut a deal with someone in the IRGC and have so
or
that there
yeah,
would
not
be a
only
soft transition, let's say.
yeah, not IRGC. As far as I know, some top officials in the regime, they may make a deal with them to, after removing Khamenei peacefully by inside the regime or by violently by the US or Israel, then a part of the regime tried to keep the country and the system, and then gradually they promised the people going for free election, and opposition can go and go for a free and fair election, and blah blah blah. Although we should wait and see what will happen in Venezuela, is if President Rodriguez, I have heard that from 3 months ago, they were negotiating with her, and she was ready to take the country over after Maduro. And she has promised the U.S. for return of American oil companies and give them back their investments, and at the same time going for free election. That yesterday President Trump said that it may take more than 1 month, because he already said that in 1 month we will go for free election, but now yesterday he said that it may take more. uh, this is an option. I don't know if Trump administration uh, will succeed to do that. Uh, so
Do you think that behind the scenes there is some sort of back channel in which they are trying to create the same scenario in Iran?
yeah, this is one of the options, but there are other options as well. I mean, mm, if the US want to push Khamenei away, they may go for a scenario like Afghanistan. I mean, gathering the different parts of opposition, Reza Pahlavi, and monarchists, Republicans that now believe that we should go for a referendum under supervision of international observers and communities and trusted people in Iran, to say yes or no to hold the regime. So removing the regime by ballot boxes and hands of the people. And the ethnics of Iran, 20% of population of Iran are Kurds, Baluch, Arabs, Turkmen, and of course we have another minority that are bigger than any of them, that are Turk people. Turk minority is about 28 to 30 million people, but they are everywhere. I mean, they are not like Kurds that located in west of Iran, or Arab minority that are located in Khuzestan, southwest of Iran, or Baluchs, Baluchis people that are on southeast of Iran. Turk people, we have at least 4 provinces that are Turkish language provinces, but they have been spread all around the country. I mean, this is the third group that they should agree with any alternative for this regime. So U.S. maybe might be able to gather them together, the figures of monarchists, including Reza Pahlavi, ethnic groups of Iran, and the main figures of Republicans. Some of them are in jail in Iran or under home arrest. Some of them are famous as Nobel Peace Prize winners, or some artists, or some writers, some attorneys, and different parts of middle class of Iran. We have a vast and powerful middle class in Iran. So this is another option. U.S. can, if they are serious to take Khamenei uh, uh, away and get him arrested or kill him or remove him from the center of the power in Iran. The second option is to help the opposition and some parts of the regime together to have a council, a national council, to run the country with a provisional government until the constitution will be changed. Mm, but as an Iranian, I really worry. I have to honestly tell you that maybe, and the regime is the mm, part of is mostly responsible for this the worst option, that continuation of this situation may make Iran as a failed state, and then we will have a civil war in Iran. We have, about 100 years ago, we had
Do you think? Do you think that an Israeli-US intervention would help or would be totally counterproductive at this stage?
It depends on. It depends on their intervention. I mean, for instance, Israel fighting with Iran, the war, uh, although they killed more than 30 top commanders of Revolutionary Guard, some scientists, or totally about 1,100 people were killed. Amongst them were some children. When they tried to kill the scientists. They were in, apartment complexes, and Israel attacked a whole building. And for killing 2 or 3 people, 100 people were killed in that building. Uh, th- these types of operation, unite the people to defend their country and armed forces of Iran. Especially the classic military of Iran, Artesh, they are nationalists, and they don't like, as an Iranian, I don't like either that a foreign country attack to soil of Iran. Uh, so, but Israel has its own, her own agenda. They worry about missiles, they worry about nuclear, they worry about proxy groups, and their national security. But for Iran, I think that if they want to intervene, especially the US, maybe Israel is not the right choice. Uh, but the United States can help people of Iran by putting pressure on dictator, or removing him by any by pressure from inside the regime, or like Maduro or whatever. Then help the avoiding civil war in Iran. Before doing that, help the people, the opposition groups, and different parts of the society to make a good coalition to keep the country. You know, uh, overthrowing this regime is something, but more important is how to take the power over.
Is the aftermath, yes.
Aftermath. Yeah. This is especially this regime. I have seen that many Iranians and many observers they compare this situation with Islamic Revolution in 1979, but this is not a right comparison. I mean, the situation is quite different. This regime is not regime of Shah, and 1979 an Islamic Revolution was agreed by absolute majority of the country, leadership of Khomeini, all different groups, even Marxists, leftists, nationalists, rightists, Muslims, they united against monarchy of Iran. And the regime of Shah was a military dictatorship and was delivered to uh, opposition very peacefully and very, without any serious damage. I mean, bureaucracy of regime of Shah joined the revolution, the strikes, and paralyzing the regime 2 months before the final victory. Or the army of Iran joined the people, and very easily power transfer happened. But this regime, structure of this regime is quite different. That's a
It won't go
consensus.
down easily.
Yeah, this is something that a coalition of more than 100 different mafia groups. They have their own networks. They have their own, and IRGC is more than 180,000 staff. Although at least 50% of them don't believe in this regime anymore, but they have a network everywhere.
There's a financial aspect, I suppose, because they own half the country. There's a handful of people who owns pretty much everything in there.
Yeah, and Army of Iraq, the IRGC is more corrupted or similar to military of Egypt, for instance, or Pakistan. They are everywhere in the economy of the country, and the suppression machine of this regime is quite different from suppression machine of Shah. Shah had Savak and Artesh, the military. That's it. But this regime has lots of facilities that has been trained by Russians and Chinese are backed with them to confront the people. And by the way, I mean, and the opposition is not united like 1979. A part of that are monarchists, say 36%, 40%, shouting for him for returning of Pahlavi dynasty, but 60% are Republicans. Ethnic of Iran don't agree with them. Anyway, this is not this transition from this regime to a democracy that is our ideal uh, is very difficult, more difficult than transition of power in 1979. And as I said, there is a danger of civil war in Iran and failed state. Uh, so this is it. Should be very careful. By the way, I'm waiting. Although it's very difficult to get news from Iran, but because that last night I heard that regime has decided to go in stage 3 and shoot the people and suppress them, arrest many people. Uh, I don't know tonight what will happen. Sometimes people push more and this suppression doesn't work. And if people feel that they can confront the regime easily, they attack to garrisons, to police stations, get the gun. And this is another thing that may happen. But by the way, uh, then there will be bloodshed. Although this regime will go for bloodshed.
One of my fears is a scenario like Myanmar, that it could end up in a sort of Myanmar scenario with Russia and China supporting whatever is left of the regime, and regional armies fighting with weapons, and the country entering a civil war. I mean, it's one of the possibilities for how dreadful it may seem, but
Yeah. I don't think that, for instance, like Belarusia or Kazakhstan, Russia will send any troops to Iran. Can't do that. But they
weapons,
full,
logistics, though they can, I suppose.
yeah, but they full support Khamenei and his regime, and Chinese as well. China government has given thousands of cameras all around the country to recognize the faces of the people. This is the reason that our activists in Iran wear masks when they go to streets, not to be recognized. China has facilitated them with many internet facilities to spy the people, to IT war. And Russia, they have trained intelligence of Iran. They are everywhere.
Do you think, are we witnessing the last act of this regime?
It depends on if today and in coming week regime succeeds to suppress the people by bloodshed and the procedure that they have been trained for that. No, it will not be the last scene of this regime. They can continue. Later, soon, with another ignition, people will protest because, as I said, the regime has no legitimacy and no popularity. And the difficulties of the people, poverty, everything is not solvable by this regime. But if people may, in these stages, people may get together, and if they succeed to attack and get gone, then yeah, whenever the suppression machine of this regime is, fall down, Khamenei will go. The regime will be overthrown because this regime is based right now just on its suppression machine. And if Khamenei will be killed or will be arrested, kidnapped, or will die naturally, there will be very powerful chances to pass through this regime, and at least step by step can go toward a change of regime. There are different scenarios, so it's difficult to say that what will happen in coming week. And Iran is now at the edge of a type of deep crisis. Accumulation of 46 years of mismanagement, corruption, wrong ideology, wrong strategy, wrong foreign policy, internal policy, all together now have accumulated. And because of lots of problems in the country, yes, it's possible by just an ignition, we see the final stages, civil war in Iran, or some groups can take power over, or in my idea, the best way is we can take power over step by step, not to destroy the country and transfer it peacefully to a democracy, secular democracy based on human rights, in a unified Iran, not to be separated. But there are many, many, many if. So it's hard to say. I can't say just in one sentence that is it the last or not. It will happen tomorrow or next year or next month. But at least I can say that Iran is pregnant to crisis, and many things may happen in different stages.